Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mother Mary Monthly Chat for 7/7 of 2024. My name's Samara Grace, and I'm so happy that you're here, either on 7/7 or later if you listen, listen later on. Mother Mary always has amazing, amazing, uplifting wisdom to offer. And I think in these chaotic times, whatever you're concerned about, having that quiet, peaceful voice that she brings and that calming presence hopefully can help you come into your quiet, calm presence to then be able to navigate this life and to make the choices that are happy for you and correct for you. I've been channeling her a long time, and I have to tell you, it's changed my life. It has brought me to places and people that I wouldn't have met otherwise. And the gift of that has been incredible. This morning, she paid me a special visit. I always feel her, but sometimes she literally lands like in my living room. And as many of you know, I've just moved to a new place in South Carolina, and I didn't know anybody here. I didn't really have any external reason that I could see for moving here, but I felt very guided to come here. And she came, and, I just feel this kind of overlighting of love when she comes. And she said these words to me. You are here to pierce the veil of forgetfulness. In one holy instant, people can remember, and they will remember, the sweet knowing that can guide them. So I guess I'm here to pierce the veil of forgetfulness. Most of you, if you're on the call, you haven't forgotten. But another of my teachers was Ram Dass, and he used to laugh and say, well, there's remembering, and then there's forgetting. And then there's forgetting you remembered, and then there's remembering that you forgot. And it just, those two messages kind of wove together for me in thinking about how we do remember and then we do forget. So without further ado, I want to bring Mother Mary through and let her give you that sweet energy that she brings to pierce any veil of forgetfulness that is currently keeping you from knowing your soul is pure light. So here she comes. Well, what a lovely introduction. I feel very honored to have all of that told to you, because I think the most important thing all of you need to know, and she's right, if you're here on the call, either today or whenever you're listening to it, you've already remembered. You've remembered that you're a soul on this journey, not just a human body having to get the laundry done and go get the groceries and, all of that. But the question then becomes, now what, right? I know I'm a soul. And at the same time, I do have to get the groceries and do the laundry, et cetera, et cetera. So how do I navigate between the frequency that seems like incredible, like so to speak, up here, and the 3D frequency of my life? How do I navigate that? Do I just go over here and then shut that door and then come over here? No. That's really something I want you to sort of gather right now. Now that you've remembered that you are a soul on the journey, every day, sometimes several times a day, you have to stop. You have to pause, P-A-U-S-E, from your getting and doing and all of that, and just remember. Because what happens is the column of light that connects you to God, the allness, the oneness, it carries the frequency of all the knowing that you need, all the wisdom that you need, all the clarity that you need to then navigate the laundry, the groceries, your job, your children, your family, etc. And so what's happening, though, is in the current environment, which is so full of argument, for want of a better word, it's too easy to have that begin to really vibrate inside of you to keep you from the clarity. So you become sort of going on automatic, which means that you're no longer following the clarity of your guidance. So it's not that it's not there, it's that you've allowed something louder in a way to take over what should be your own beingness. So how do you do that? Well, and again, it's interesting that Suzanne and Samara are going to be doing something which is to help you with that, to have sort of a whole toolkit, to reach into if you're having any difficulty. But to just give you some of this idea right now. So you watch something on television and it's terrible. Some awful thing has happened to someone, because that's right now, for the most part, what's on, whether it's television or the media or Zoom, it's there. You see something awful. And then your body goes into literally a chemical reaction to what you've just seen. And it's as if you poured yourself a glass of poison and said, oh, let me just drink this down. So what do? If you've seen something awful, you have to pause. You have to collect yourself. You have to connect again, even just for a moment, and say, how can I offer something loving into that car accident, fire, hurricane? What could I do, right? So now, instead of a chemical toxicity that you've ingested, you're calling on the light of who you are and sending that back into whatever that challenge or difficulty might be, right? So now you're back in your presence of light. And that is the most valuable, most important thing you can do for yourself, but also for the world right now. Absolutely. And so during your day, this is what you do. And even if you have a job where you are, surrounded by people, you can always go to the men's room or the ladies' room, right? And you just take a moment, wash your hands, sit in the stall, whatever, and say, okay, I am the light I came to be. I am the light I came to bring. I am the light of me. That's all you have to do. So now it's like all of that tubing is open again. All of it is clear again. And instead of the emotional body and the mental body in some kind of anguish or upset, now your spiritual body is nurturing and feeding all of your other systems. It's the best fuel you can ever find. So that's one thing, to just take that moment and do it. Another thing you can do throughout your day is to realize these situations that I'm seeing are the creation of actions and thoughts. Right? Actions and thoughts. So what are the thoughts and actions that would be an antidote, a remedy for that which I am seeing? This now brings back the brightness of your mental body, the clarity of your emotional body, and hopefully, as I said, the fuel from your spiritual body. And so now you can think about it. What could I do? What could I do? And we've been talking about this for years now. None of you, I don't want any of you to put yourself in physical harm. Let me be very clear about that. I don't want any of you to put yourself in physical harm and the danger of physical harm. It's not about that. You can sit in your living room and send the light that you are to the situation. Those of you that are trained in various energy modalities, Reiki, etc., you can send that. So this time that we're in is calling on everyone to really embody their spiritual presence, because your presence is your present. That's it. That's the whole thing. And so I know many times people that are calling for private sessions and all private readings, it's like, well, what should I do, Mother Mary? What should I do? Be still and know. Be still and know. Because from that, each of you is connected to your holy self, your higher self, and therefore there can come a clarity if you are to do anything. And that's perfectly fine. But without that, again, you're operating from a very limited part of yourself, and that is not helping in the way that you could be of help. So I think for some of you, it is about writing. For some of you, it's about prayer. For some of you, it's about ceremony. For some of you, it's about making a pot of some kind of wonderful chicken soup for your neighbor. You know, it's not a particular thing. So many of you say, well, what should I do that's a particular thing? Because it comes from that moment. Like, what would your heart do for that person or that group or that individual or that country? That's how it comes. And so when you connect with your higher self, it becomes very clear. And there's a peacefulness because you know you're doing what you personally have been guided to do. And so there's not resistance, there's not reluctance, there's not explaining, there's not demanding. It's just this beautiful purity. And in that moment, you are the light of God that you came to be. You are the love of God that you came to be. And that is what this planet is so, so hungry for right now. They want you, each of you. Your sweet gift of you is what they want. And I think it's important to realize that sometimes you think, well, you know, just little me saying this prayer or whatever. Everything in the world right now is the result of people's thoughts and actions. So where do you want to land with that? That's the question. Where do you want to land with that? Hopefully you want to land in the arena of positive thoughts, positive actions, loving choices, uplifting ways of being. And now that's where you land. So you're in this frequency of peaceful delight. Peaceful delight. How many of you would like to have that every day? Peaceful delight. So it's realizing, what is my mind telling me and what am I feeding my mind? So I'm not saying you should ignore what's going on in the world. You know, I mean, that's hard to do anyway. But what I'm saying is, don't let that be your reality. Because everything that you just witnessed on the television or wherever, it's over. It already happened. So now there's a chance to create a new trajectory. Think about trajectory. A trajectory is the path that something has been on and will stay on unless it is changed. Right? So how can we change a negative trajectory? We can create a higher frequency vibration that is a positive trajectory. How do we do that? Well, there's lots of ways on that, and I don't know if I can go into all of them right now. But each of you, just be with that for a moment. If there are conflicts, if there's difficulties, if there's challenge, if there's illness, that's a trajectory that began a while ago. And so what other trajectory could interrupt or change that trajectory? And the simple answer is love and light. You know, I know so many people sort of throw that around, love and light, love and light, love and light. Well, it's back, but now make it real. What would your love do? What would your light do in any given situation? I'm going to pick on Canada Jill for just a moment. Hello, darling. Canada Jill was guided by her higher self to make the most beautiful, beautiful deck of cards, sort of message cards. I was going to say tarot, but that's sort of an older terminology. And so she didn't know how. She didn't have the computer expertise. She wasn't sure how she could possibly do it. But she knew something inside was inviting her to switch up and do it. And you did. You did. And I think that sometimes it's frustrating because sometimes you think, well, it should be a bestseller, you know, it should be everywhere. And we know Samara felt the same way about our book, but it isn't about that. It's like having done that and seeing it and feeling it and having your friends enjoy it and speak of it and share it with each other. Don't you feel like that was an incredible gift that you brought forth? And so when you have that, it isn't necessarily sort of widely seen in the world, because unfortunately, what's widely seen in the world right now, what people call news, is everything terrible. When did it become news that someone was murdered and someone had a car accident and a thing blew up and all? I mean, yes, but where's the good stories? Where are the good stories? And so your stories aren't yet in the largeness of the public view. But every beautiful thing that you do is seen and heard and felt and changes the negative trajectory. So thank you, Jill, for trusting and doing that. And I'm only choosing Jill tonight because I think she was feeling a little sad somehow. And we just want you to know we see you, we feel you, we love you, and it's all good. It's all good. And so for many of you, you think, well, you know, what's next? Lee just moved halfway across the country to a new place. Are you getting settled, Lee? And like Samara, she's probably a little bit going through, what am I doing here? But it all gets revealed. You know, it's like a beautiful treasure map, but you don't have all the pieces yet. So when you hear your higher self, when you feel this guidance to move, to create something, to enroll in a wonderful class, whatever it would be, just do it and see what's next. Because that's how it happens. You don't get the next piece until you've done the one that is in front of you. Sometimes it's because if you saw the pieces, you would run screaming from the room. But really, it's because that's how it works to shift from human creation to what I'll just call soulcraft, right? This is soulcraft. It's how you create the soul that you are in the world. And it's just an extraordinary journey, but it takes trust and faith and just, you know, I know many times I would ask Samara to do something and she would say, you want me to do what? You know, it's like, but she did it. And then it just goes into the next thing. And so trusting your guidance, trusting your heart, trusting your higher self, your guides, is the way to create a new trajectory for yourself, your friends, your family, your neighbors, and really this world. Because so much is changing, and it really has to. It has to change. But how will it change? How will it change? People say, you know, be the change you want to see. But again, that seems a little, you know, evanescent, a little hard to be. So I say, be the change. Step one, listen, feel, and do whatever small act you're guided to do, because from that comes the next things. And the other thing I'll say about it, you know, people have asked me, well, how do you know it's my higher self? You know, if it feels joyous and just a little bit scary, it's probably your higher self. And when I say a little bit scary, you know, like I was just mentioning Jill's project, it's like, I don't know how to do this. But you just take the next step and the next step, and then your family steps in and says, let me help you with that. And then it just grows. And so with Suzanne and Samara, they thought, we want everyone to be able to hear their own guidance. There's nothing a great teacher wants more than for you to say, I got it, I'm off. That's a great teacher when you outgrow them. And so they're creating something, and it'll be wonderful for those who want to do it. And that's the next step in just offering something unique and special. We see and feel so much love from each of you, and we also feel, for some of you, something that I wish I could just take a magic wand or one of those Mr. Clean erasers, right? You are each worthy. You are worthy. You're worthy to live. You're worthy to love. You're worthy to create. You're worthy to have joy. You're worthy to be. You're worthy. And I think this too is an old trajectory. And some of you have mastered it. I couldn't be happier. But if you still feel like, oh, little old me, how could I do this or that or the other thing? You have to quell that voice with a stronger voice that is saying the truth. I am the light I came to be. I choose to share the light I came to bring. And so it'll still maybe sometimes go yabby, 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 but you don't listen anymore. You choose. You choose to be the light you came to be. And I think that even if you don't know what your project is, what your next step is, I can promise you tonight, after our recording, and you can go get ready for bed or whatever, make sure you have a pencil or pen and a notebook to put by your bed. And just ask your higher self, say, in my dream, show me what is mine to offer. Show me what is mine to offer. And then when you wake up, write it down. Maybe it's a color, maybe it's a movie that you're supposed to watch, because again, the next step might be something a little odd, right? But when you do that, your higher self goes, oh, good, they're listening. And it'll go from there. Because all of you have so much to give. You do. And I think that when you feel the joy of that creation that is yours, whether it's a big pot of chicken soup or a wonderful deck of cards or a new project, a new class, something wonderful for the world like Richard is working on, whatever it is, it's like there's this satisfaction that comes that says, I am living the light that I am. And that is an extraordinary transformation from hi ho, it's off to work I go, time to make the donuts or whatever. So that's what I want for all of you, is to just know that whatever your higher self tells you is next, do it. Listen to the recording that they suggest, or watch the movie, or take the walk, or go to the park, or call the friend, or whatever it is. Because there's so much wisdom that you already have. And the world needs that. The world needs that. So choose the high road, the higher trajectory that you want to be on, and you won't regret it. Sure, there's some difficulties figuring out how to mute the participants. But in the end, and when I say in the end, when you come home to us, that's one end. It's not really one end, it's another beginning, but it's sort of an end. I want you to be proud of your life. And we don't care how big your IRA is. We don't care what kind of car you're driving or how big your house is, we're happy that you're happy. But what you see when you come home, you look back and you see the light that you left. and the light that you shared. And we want that to be so bright and so brilliant and so satisfying that you say, good job to yourself. So just be aware of that. That's why you're here, to share your light, to share your love. And each of you have your own, like Baskin Robbins, your own flavor. So find out, are you Rocky Road, butter pecan, vanilla? But be happy whatever it is. Because the other key to all of this is, if you're not feeling joy, stop. Change that trajectory and say, not only am I light, I choose to live a life of joy. That's what I want for all of you, a life of joy. Just imagine the world's trajectory if thousands and then millions of people chose to live a life of joy. Children would be fed. Old people would be listened to. Streams would run clear. Forests would be verdant with beautiful, beautiful trees. The ocean would be clean. There would be food for everyone. It's your life and it's your world. So it's time to suit up, show up, and share the light that you bring. Be not afraid of the light that you bring. It is glorious and beautiful and needed. I bless you all. Take just a moment. I'm just going to send out a blessing that each of you might feel the love that I have for you, the love that is here for you, the love that you are and can share as you choose. You are my beautiful children. Be the love you came to be. Be the love you came to be. Be the love you came to be. Namaste. So before I end the recording, I just want to say this is Samara. And my wish also for all of you that are listening is that you feel the love that just poured through me from Mother Mary. And that you can trust the knowing of your own heart and your own guidance to be the love you came to be. So be it.